Hi, I'm Kenneth WAJDA. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my weekly photo talks. Happy Saturday. So today I want to talk about this very unremarkable lens. This is a Nikon, it's a D series lens. This is the one that came out long ago when they first came out with autofocus lenses. This one still has an aperture ring. And it's a 70 to 300 variable aperture, super slow, f4, f5.6. So like this is junk, right? This is no good. So I had this in my car, and it's always in my car. And it's one of those lenses that's like, oh yeah, that's in the console. I forgot about that one. But I was driving through my town, and I always carry a camera with me, as you know. But I had a 20 or a 28 on, and I can usually shoot street or document stuff with that with a wide angle. I like shooting wide. But there was a series of protests going on for Black Lives Matter. And I thought, oh, I'd like to shoot that. But I have a 70 to 200 2.8, which is a straight 2.8. It's gigantic, it's fast, it's brilliant, it's beautiful. Not like this junk. But it doesn't go to 300. And this one does. So I put this on because it was already with me. And I don't carry a bag of cameras with me. I don't like to leave things in the car. I don't like to have things at risk of being stolen. So I bring my cameras in, my pro gear, my stuff I take to photo assignments. That's different than what I typically will carry. But this is a lens that lives in the car. And I realized that it really fits really nicely in the cup holder. You can put it face down in the cup holder and it works fine. And the one thing about this lens that makes it extra good is it goes to 300, not just 200. And if you're shooting outside in bright light, shooting at an f8, which is a stop down from its slowest aperture, I guess you'd say fastest aperture, but it's pretty slow at 5.6, I'm able to shoot a 300 millimeter lens in a camera lens that weighs hardly anything and is very light, very easy, very quick. It's still autofocus. I'm shooting it with a D610 on the photos that I did for the protests. And I ended up getting a whole feature in Yellow Scene magazine. And it was with a lens that you would say, I can buy that for $99 at B&H used right now. That's nothing special. But it is special because it got the job done. And it's perfectly sharp. And it's perfectly light, and it's with me. And sometimes you need to have the gear with you, and that's why this lives in the car. But the idea is, a lot of people would say, well, I have to buy the best, and I have to carry the biggest, and I have to have the fastest. And I love that 70 to 200 2.8. I wouldn't take this to a paid job. But when it comes to shooting for spot news, something that I come upon, this is a great lens for that. And then I'll put a link in the show notes. You can see the results. The results are all that matters when it comes to news photography and photojournalism. And that's one of those things where I was kind of inspired to like share that with everybody, because it's like you would think that gear matters so much to the point of you can't do something if you don't have $1,200, $1,800 for that 70 to 200 2.8, which by the way is about twice as long and a little bit thicker and probably twice the weight. And it doesn't fit in your cup holder. You might even be able to get a large coffee cup and put this inside of it, I'm betting. But I just actually been putting it upside down in my cup holder. And again, it's an older lens. It has an aperture ring. It works with cameras that if you need an aperture ring, the G lenses don't have that. But this is an old D lens, and that's what makes it inexpensive. It's not the fastest autofocus, they say, but if I'm shooting something and there's a protester here and then there's a protester next to him, it's going to be pretty quick between two things that are about the same place distance-wise away. And like I said, I'll put a gallery link below so you can see some of the photos and say, is this up to the task? And obviously, I believe it is, or I wouldn't be touting it so well. But it's amazing what you can do. And I'm betting Canon has something of an equivalent range for price and size. And sometimes it's handy. I often will carry that 28 or 24 in the car on the body. So I always have a body with me. To have this in the car for $100, that's a sweet setup. And I've done other street photos with it recently because I'm limited to shooting from the car with this pandemic. So it's actually come in handy for more than just the protests. And to have a 70 to 300 in your pocket, sometimes because it's slow is what makes it light, and that's what makes it easy to carry and inexpensive, and that's all bonus. So that's my new love, the 70 to 300 ED D lens. It says 70 to 300 AF Nikkor f4 to 5.6 letter D. And like I said, letter D was the ones that had this aperture ring, which is a really nice thing to have. You can use it on manual bodies as well because you have control of the aperture. All right, that's today's photography talk, a little gear talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, I welcome your cup of coffee a week with the Patreon. And thanks so much for watching. I'll be back next week. We'll talk photography. As always, here's to good light.